Ladies and gentlemen, it feels like it's been a lifetime now. It's probably been about 3 or 4 months since we really got back into the swing of things, since the last set of podcasts, but this is a new season, I guess you can call it. And we're going to start off with an amazing guest. His name is Michael, but his real name is Buddy, or his real name is Buddy, or maybe his fake name is Michael, I don't know. But he's the Handsome Man Barbershop guy. That's what everybody knows him at. And I met him probably about a couple weeks ago, and it was because somebody was in my reception area at Rock Out Loud, and they said, you gotta meet this guy. His name is Buddy, the Handsome Man Barbershop. He's one of the greatest guys you're gonna ever meet. My son loves him. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Buddy, from the Handsome Man Barbershop.
How are you guys?
Exactly right. So, Buddy, it's a pleasure to meet you. I met you because one of the students, actually a couple of students, but one in particular said, hey, you got to meet this guy. He's from the Handsome Man Barbershop, and he's not that far from you. And he does things sort of like you do things. And that intrigued me because I said, what does he do that I don't do? And they said it was the experience, because that's what I see here is the experience is when you come into my place. It's always the immersion of the experience. And then I said, okay, sure, a barber, I guess so, right? And then I look you up, and you have over 100 Google reviews, all 5 stars. All of them. And you even celebrated after you hit that milestone of the 100 Google reviews, 105 stars. It's an amazing, that in itself is amazing. And then I read those reviews. Those are not those reviews that people put in a sentence. It was reviews that people actually really spent time writing. And there were paragraphs about you. I'm going to ask you tons of questions, but they talk about the experience. They talk about refreshments. They talk about, the way you treat your customers. What is it that you do different that makes you the best barber in the South Jersey area?
Well, I think it's just all about caring about people.
Yeah.
So everyone talks about what they do and how they do it, but not why they do it. And like you said, the experience is the experience, and that's what you're trying to, because you can get your haircut anywhere.
Right.
But why do you come to me? Why do you come to the barbershop? It's for the experience, and that's what separates everybody.
So explain to somebody who's never been at your shop what the experience is like.
Well, you certainly come in, and it's a great looking shop. It's clean.
It's a beautiful shop.
Everyone's well dressed. Everything looks good. The lighting's good. There's coffee. There's cookies. There's candy. There's refreshments. And you said there's for adults. There's beverages for them as well. There's a little bar in the back.
Is there real?
There is.
Do you need a license for that?
Well, we don't really sell it, so we just kind of have it there, and you just kind of give it away.
I gotta do that
somebody,
here.
Yeah, nice day at work. You worked all hard. You come back to the shop. You can get your haircut, a shave. You have a little sip of whiskey. There it is.
Wow.
Right.
You just blew my mind. That's a great idea.
Right. And it's the only kind of ideas we have over there at the Handsome Man Barbershop. We give the hot towel. We talk to people. It's not just a 10-minute chop job.
Right.
You go to I don't mean to say it, but Supercuts, Great Clips, these franchise
You're
places. Right. They don't even want to know your name. You're just you're just a number to them. You're not even a person. So
You're right.
Like I said earlier to you before, I don't like to call people clients. They're people.
You're
you
right.
You find out their name. You remember them. You have to remember things about them. You build relationships with these people, and that's what makes it different.
Right.
So that's exciting for us to try to provide to people.
So how did you get that idea to make that different? Because it's like you said, that's just the norm. You get your haircut, nobody talks to you.
Well, we are, I am a barber, and I'm a little more than that. I'm in the service industry, and just
right.
like you are, you're providing a service.
Yeah.
And that's what counts. And think about when you go to a hotel or you go to a restaurant, you don't buy the steak, you buy the sizzle. Right? You don't remember the steak or the food. You remember the waiter or the waitress or the smell of the place or how you were welcomed, how you were greeted, the look of the ambiance of places. Those are things that matter.
Right.
Because you can get a $10 steak anywhere. You can get a $100 steak anywhere. But where are you going to go? It's for certain reasons. The bartender, the person that remembers you, they treat you like family. You get a seat. They know what you're drinking. It's all about the little details. The drama's in the details.
That's exactly right. And now, when did you guys open up?
April 29, 2019 was our first day.
I opened up in 2019. That was the year right before the storm.
Right, and we almost hit the year mark, and then we were shut down for over 100 days.
Yeah.
So 3 months shut down, weren't allowed to do anything. So it's really tough. As you know, it's really tough to even you're a brand new business, and you're just trying to get going. And we didn't get any government help. There was I had to pay rent. It was just constant.
I know.
So at least I was smart with my money in the first couple months of everything.
Right.
But it was really tough.
So you came in, you said to me you were in Florida. So you basically came here and you opened up a new space, a new barbershop, a new name. And how do you build that up in 2019? And by the way, in New Jersey, especially South Jersey, there's tons of places, whether it's hair salons or barbershops. How do you make that difference? Because you clearly made a difference between any of your competition.
So, I'll tell you, I've been doing this for 20 years. Before I moved to Florida, I was here for quite some time. So I had my own little following. and then you leave and you lose everybody. You come back.
Yeah.
You have your friends, you have your family, you have your network. You know, it's hard to get that back. The location obviously is everything. You know, it's really important. The location I have, I believe, is the best in Monmouth County, with all the new construction going up, all the apartments. I actually live in that complex.
Oh, really?
In the edge of Freehold. Yeah, I do. So I think it's really important to be there. It's a residue of design, right? It's not just a coincidence. But knowing all the people that come, and it's how you treat people. From the moment they walk in, you say hello, you remember them, you greet them. I know what it feels to go to a new barbershop.
Yeah.
Right? You walk in and no one says hello to you. No, you don't know what to do. You walk in, you're not sure where to go. If you have an appointment, or what barber you're going to go to.
Right.
You know, it's very intimidating.
It is.
So you make sure when people come in, you say hello. And I teach my guys that. It doesn't even matter if you're cutting their hair or not. Just say hello. Hey, how you doing?
Right.
Hey, what's up, Frank? Hey, Steve. You know, how you been? Like, it doesn't matter if you're cutting their hair or not. It's all just there. So things like that, plus the refreshments, the cleanliness of the place, the good music, the vibe, the sports is on TV. You know, a lot of people can have that, but it's really I tried not to be the business, but I am the business.
Right, I know what you mean.
You know, it's hard not to be.
Yeah, absolutely. When it's your baby, right? You've invested everything.
You have your hands all in it. You know, so I try to kind of puppet that.
Right, that's exactly. And when I walked in, there was something that I saw, which I'd done the same thing in my space. I don't know if you recognize it, but that was something that was clear as days. When I saw your walls, you had things like confidence and all of these little catchphrases.
Right.
And I think you were quoted somewhere that you're a Jim Rohn fan.
I am a big Jim
I am
Rohn
ginormous
fan.
Jim Rohn fan.
One of my favorite people. I wish he was still alive. I could meet him.
Me too. You know, I'm a big Tony Robbins guy too, and that was his coach. That was his mentor, Jim Rohn.
He's changed my life. You know, I was actually listening to him on the way over here.
Oh my God! I could tell you.
YouTube, and I just listened to him.
That's exactly right. So what was it that? Because you can see that Jim Rohn, and those of you who don't know who Jim Rohn is, they really got to look up Jim Rohn.
It's a shame if you don't.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, people say it's self-help, but it's a guide to being successful. You could see that you've used that almost like that blueprint, right? To open up your space. So what made you, or how did you discover Jim Rohn? Because a lot of people, he's been dead for quite some time now.
Really? Yeah, no, he has been. So one of my friends put me onto Les Brown.
Oh, Les Brown is awesome.
I seen him in
You've
Newark.
Seen him?
I did. 3 years ago.
Where?
In Newark. I forget the venue, but yeah, we went and saw him.
He's so emotional.
It was really cool. He looks old and he's kind of, he's getting there.
But he's got the laugh.
But he does. And we had the VIP package where we went down and we had a little lunch with him, and people were allowed to go up and talk to him, and we got to meet him.
His
apple
apple
pie. Really
pie.
interesting.
His mama's apple pie. He's big on that.
You feel his energy. And
wow.
Even though he's got to be close to 80 years old now. He's in his 70s, right? He's got to be.
Wow.
And you could feel him. But since I was looking at his YouTube channel, or not the channel, but just the clips, I came across Jim Rohn, and there's something about his voice just got me, and just the way he delivers things, really, it was intriguing to me. And then when I listened to his message, it really was exciting for me. And the quote that I have on the wall is, "Service to others leads to greatness." Yeah. And then he even says, it's paraphrased from the Bible, and he's not an expert on the Bible. Right. You know, not many of us are. Right. But it's really exciting to see that, and it was in line with my values of what I wanted my shop to be like and how I want my life to be. That's exactly right. I mean, because like I said, followed Tony Robbins too, and that whose coach Tony Robbins was Jim Rohn. But that whole group of folks, that's I've been on that journey for some time now. Tomorrow I actually got to go to it's Live to Lead in New Jersey. If you're free tomorrow morning, I mean it's from 8 to 4. It's with all the leaders in that space. John Maxwell. You probably know John Maxwell, Ed Milet, all these big leaders that follow the Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins kind of mentality. They're in that space too. But there's not a lot of people that share the love for like a Les Brown and Jim Rohn. How many of your barbers that work for you follow Jim Rohn? They don't even know who he is. Yeah. And I try to talk about him. There's a lot of things I say, little quotes that are just mine. But there's a lot of them that I say that are his. And they just don't even know it. You know, I'm not going to quote him. I know. But the one quote's up there. But there's one of my friends, his name is Ben. He's big on that stuff. He's like a life coach. He does the same thing. So I'd love to meet Ben. Of course. He's very interesting. Yeah. But like we have that same mindset of those kind of people in our lives. And, you know, success leaves clues. It leaves breadcrumbs. Exactly right. You know, and you follow those breadcrumbs, you're going to be successful. Absolutely. You know, so it's really exciting to be part of that. Yeah. But the words on the wall were just part of it. It's not a gimmick. It's not, just catchphrases. That's right. It's part of who the Handsome Man. No, it's not. It's something that's supposed to mean something, and it creates value. Those words are valuable, and like the whole Handsome Man thing is being, it's being good looking is subjective.
Right.
And
That's
it's
true.
about being handsome, which means who you are and as you are as a man, as a person, the integrity that you have and what you bring to the community and to your peers.
Absolutely. And when I saw, or I should say when I was told about you, it was like, oh, the Handsome Man, I thought they were talking about you being a handsome man. I had no idea it was the Handsome Man Barbershop. And then I reflected, I said, wow, he's telling everybody he's a handsome man. But then I was digging deep into you, and it's not about you being a handsome man. It's about making your client or the person the handsome man.
Right.
And then it all made sense.
Right. Although I may be good looking. That's subjective, and there are people that might find that, but there are people in my life that know the kind of person I am, and it's not, like I said, it's not a gimmick. I try to live by those words as best I can, like anyone else. We all make mistakes, just like everyone else has, but to have those words on the wall, I deem what makes someone handsome. If you have even one of those qualities, then you can be, part of that
That's
club.
right.
And I always joke with the guys that come in my chair. I'm always like, I don't cut the ugly. And again, it has nothing to do with how you look.
Right.
It's who you are. I don't want somebody who's a bad person in my chair. I don't want to spend time with you, and you're with me for 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on what the service you get. If you're not a good person, then I don't want to be any part of your life.
Totally. And I've seen reviews from the girlfriends of the men you've cut. And it's amazing.
And it's really interesting that you bring that other reviews up, is that nowadays we're in the world where you live and die by Google reviews, Yelp reviews, and things like that. Is the people, the public, have so much, say in how you can succeed. Just by from a review. And I don't ask these people to write these reviews. I like it's natural. And if I was to ask every single person to write a review, I'm sure there'd be more than just 100. Right. But I just, we talk about it, they ask, and I'm like, just go on Google if you can. If you don't want to, it's no problem. Yeah. But it's really nice to see what they say. Yeah. It makes me feel good about what I'm doing, that what I am doing is successful, even if it is only in this short period of time that I've accomplished something and touched at least that many people.
And you've even responded to every one of those reviews.
Oh, I have to.
It's amazing.
It comes in an email. Sometimes it gets lost in the email, so maybe a couple of days go by before you can actually see it. But I always get back to people and I try to address them, and I remember each one of these people.
That's great.
So I try to address them by their first name and talk to them. Again, it's not just a number. They're not just clients. They're just they're just people in the community.
Right, because you're going to see them once a month or so, right?
Right. And these are the people that are making the community grow and helping everything. I mentioned with you before about the Texas. I don't care if someone likes my photo.
Right.
I care about the people in the community.
Right. That's exactly
right. That's what I'm part of.
Do you do anything special in the community, for the community?
I so far I've done I give couple calendar people. I sponsored a soccer team.
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
That. And then the pandemic shut things down, so there's not much you can actually do now.
Right.
I missed out on old Freehold Day, getting a tent and doing things. I don't know if you were...
I did it in Marlboro Day.
Oh, yeah. See, I missed out on that. It was just the timing was just, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Next year I plan to do that with the thing. But really, anyone that needs something in the community, I always try to sponsor things if it comes in.
Yeah.
But just being in the community, and now with the business being where it is, with the apartments and the stores, they're like, it is that is the community. Like, I live there with these people.
Right.
Everybody that comes into that plaza and that complex,
That's awesome, like a family.
Right.
But then the next part of this is, where do you find your help? Because everybody's been complaining that you can't find help these days. Right. So you not only have to find somebody who's really on time, and you got to find somebody who's talented. You just can't hire somebody who knows how to hold a pair of scissors.
Right. So that has been one of my... I knew opening a business there was going to be lots of struggle.
Challenges. Let's call it a challenge.
Challenges. Yep. Yeah, right. That's better said. I didn't think finding people was going to be such a hard thing to do, because in the 20 years I've done this, there was always barbers around me, and it's there's a big turnover rate in shops. A lot of shops work. You'll see a barber for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, gone. Is that right? And it was. And I don't know why. And it's very rare that there's a barber that sticks with one shop for a long period of time. I found the one gentleman, Blake, who's my youngest. He's been there the longest. His mom is a career hairdresser, and she actually is friends with the woman I used to work with in the salon. So we kind of linked up that way.
Got it.
Brian, the other barber, I got off Indeed.
Wow.
And I didn't think I was going to get somebody off that. Yeah. And they just happened to work out. But I've been through Craigslist. I've been through all these things. I've been through a lot of interviews. I've been through people. And it just doesn't seem to work out. I'm not quite sure why that is. And the weird thing is, I've had 5 or 6 people come to the shop that were just fresh to the business that ask me to train them.
Yeah.
I've spent time, I've invested time, and they just kind of just disappear. You know, whether they're not
Really?
ready for it. You know, I mean, I hold a high standard. Like, you do have to be good at what you do.
You do.
But you're going to get. But there was one point in my life where I didn't know how to cut hair at all, and then somebody took the time to show me, and I just had to develop my skills naturally and on my own. You know, so but finding people is really a struggle. And I don't know where to look. You go to the schools, but the schools were shut down for a long time. Then you talk to them now, and they're not ready. They don't have a license yet, so they're not ready.
Do you have to have a license to cut hair?
You're supposed to have a license, but there are a lot of barbershops out there that just hire people.
But there are like plumbers who have master licenses, and then they have people who are just working for them, and that license.
So it is a liability. The state can come in and fine you, and I mean they could shut you down. They're not going
for not
to.
having a hair cutting license.
So there's a lot of people out there that are very talented with no license, and then there's a lot of people with a license with no talent. You know, it's a very strange dynamic. But you know, but you're supposed to go to school. I happened to go, you know, a long time ago to a vocational school, and you know, you don't learn how to cut hair in school. There are barbering programs, because when I went, there was just a cosmetology program. So I'm actually a licensed cosmetologist, which is a bigger spectrum of the license, which is probably the better license to have. But it's interesting, they didn't teach you how to cut hair. You learn that in shop. You learn rules, regulations, procedures. You're almost like you learn a lot about sanitization, disinfection. You learn a little bit biology, bone structure. So that was actually one thing when the pandemic happened and we were shut down, is I even wrote a letter to the governor. And I said, you know, you give me a state license to recognize disease, and you give me a license to handle it and to make sure every person is safe, but then you shut me down. Like, we're almost like a step below. I don't want to take, you know, nurses are nurses, but we have that ability. If there's someone comes in with a communicable disease, we're supposed to notice it and recommend them to a physician. You know? So it's much more than cutting hair.
Wow,
it's
I
a very
had no
serious
idea.
license. Yeah.
And let me guess, Murphy didn't get back to you.
No. Yeah, right. Nobody got back to me. You know?
I know, we've had the same problems. You know, you try to make a difference.
But the license is a serious thing,
you
know, so you're supposed to have the license.
Got it. Now, what about renting seats? Can you rent seats?
In New Jersey, it's illegal.
Is it really?
There are shops that do it, just like, you know, everything's under the table, things like that. When I was in Florida, they rent the chair.
Right.
You know, as an owner of a barbershop, it's not ideal for me to rent the chair, whether it was legal or not, because you kind of lose control of your shop. They just have to pay rent, and that's it.
I see what you mean.
You know, so
like 1099s, and then they can
do now when they work under you, and then you're paying them commission or hourly, however it's set up. They kind of like, you know, there's a reason to come to work. Because, like, imagine, I mean, as a barber, if you're busy, you make all your money on a Monday, you pay the rent. The rest of the week is yours. You don't have to show up.
That's
you can. It's good for the barber.
Yeah,
you know.
That's totally true. You even mentioned, I think somewhere I read that some of your customers tipped you pretty handsomely.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got guys that take care of me even now. But during the pandemic, there were hundreds of dollars being thrown at you.
That's amazing, isn't it?
People are offering you, hey, when you want to come to my house, $500, like this and that. Like,
wow.
Yeah, people are like, getting a haircut is a big deal.
Absolutely. My hair grew out. I had nowhere to go.
Right.
Nowhere to go.
And it seems the shorter you keep your hair, the more maintenance it is. So there's guys that come once a week. There's guys that come every 2 weeks. There's guys that come once a month. There's a big dynamic with the hair. People are very particular. You know, it's very interesting.
And it's not unisex. Is it just for men?
The Handsome Man is a barbershop. But there are women that come in who have shorter haircuts.
No kidding.
You know, we have a few older women that come in. They have a little short hair.
Right.
I've cut women. You know, they have like shorter hair. I mean, we do have a license to cut the hair. I guess the issue would be like the styling part of it.
Right.
Like, a woman wants an updo with a blowout. Like, you know, I can cut your hair.
Right.
You know,
blowing out.
I can give you layers. I can, I can give you a blunt cut. I can give you all these things. But you know, you want the whole style. I don't have that. Maybe artistic view of your hair.
Totally get that.
Right.
So you mentioned that you opened up in April, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going through the pandemic, I had no help with the landlords or whatever it was. So how did you get by 100 days? So that's about 3.5 months or so, right?
Yeah. So, you know, right in the beginning, I remember I shut down 2 days before the state made us shut down.
Like March something.
Right, and I remember the reason was we had the shop was booked, especially for myself, booked. People were showing up and, you know, they're showing up in masks and rubber gloves, and no one knew what this thing was.
Right.
You know, and even myself. And I just had to turn them away. I shut it down. I sent my guys home. I wasn't sure. I wanted to play it safe. And then as the couple weeks go by, you know, you realize what's going on, and maybe it's not that big a deal. I mean, people get sick, they die, you know. So I'm not suggesting that it's not a real thing, but you have to make a living.
Yeah.
So what really happened was I blacked out the windows. went underground. I was cutting in the morning. My guys that I knew, one at a time. I had to make some money, but the rent, nobody. I didn't have.
Nobody helped.
No, even the landlord. There was no. I finally sent them an email. So the landlord that I'm going through for the commercial is the same landlord for my home.
Really?
It's the same.
It's the same complex.
Right. So they're hitting you on both ends.
Yeah.
And they sent an email to everybody saying, "Hey, we understand you're going through some stuff, but we need our rent." So
wow.
you just and they we'll deal with you on a case by case basis, and I get that.
They told me that too, but there was no case.
Right, and then when you go to like ask them for the help, they make you jump through so much hurdles to even have a conversation.
Me too.
Right, they want to see all these.
You went through. What's your landlord?
Edgewood Properties.
That's my landlord.
Is that right?
Oh my God! I went through
Wow.
the same thing with
Right,
them.
yeah.
Oh my.
Really big company,
I'm laughing because they said the same thing. I gave them all the paperwork, all the data, everything that they wanted. They said, we're going to still try to help you, Mike. And then I said, okay, you know what? Let's see what you can do. And they come back and said, there's nothing you can do, but we'll tell you this, that this is the greatest time for entrepreneurs because now you're going to see the government's going to bail everybody out. You're going to do great.
Right.
I said, you know what? It's been now 4 months and it's not bailing me out. I had some 1099s, but I got nothing from PPP. Do me a favor. Could you use my security deposit? They're like, no. I said, but that's my security deposit. That's for security. And I understand that it's a security deposit, but it's still my security deposit. It's not like I'm not taking the rent and not paying you. Just let's use it. He said, no, I won't do that. So I said, okay, I put it up on Facebook and tagged everybody at Edgewood Properties.
Really?
And they finally sent a lawyer at me and said, we'll allow you to use your security deposit if you take that Facebook post down.
Really?
I said, you know what? Keep the fucking security
Right, that's
deposit.
interesting.
Yeah. I didn't give them back I didn't take it down. And,
You shouldn't.
yeah. But they were horrible people. Horrible people.
Well, they're all just about business. They
Yeah.
have a huge turnover rate with their employees.
Yeah.
So I hear all those things about them.
Yeah.
We can get into that whole thing about them, but the same thing. Like I got to the point where I had all the stuff from my lawyer, from my accountant, that I was going to give
I
it
had
to
it
him, and
all.
then I was just like, you know what? Somehow they're going to pull something sneaky at the end.
That's
Oh,
Joe.
I'm
I know
just
Joe.
Like, so
Yep.
we didn't do it, and I was just fortunate that I was smart with my money the first couple months.
Exactly.
And I just pay, but I was still underground cutting hair.
Yeah.
They almost force you to become. I don't want to say the word criminal, but it is like that because
Yeah.
they were threatening you with jail time and fines and all these things, and it's like I have to make a living.
Yeah.
But then the liquor store can be open and 100 people can wait
Right.
in line and they can drink booze every day, but I can't
I
make
went
a
to
living.
Walmart and there were tons of people there.
Right, and I can't make a living. Right? I mean,
Right.
this is like a nice place. I keep things clean. Again, that's what my
Yeah.
license tells me. I'm trusted by the state to keep people clean,
Right.
to make sure that there's not a germ spread from person to person. Because in the barbershop, there's a lot of diseases that can be spread.
Is that right?
I mean, ringworm is huge, right? ringworm,
How about
hepatitis,
lice, maybe? Is lice?
You have to check for these things. There's a whole
Wow.
procedure that goes. That's why it's important to get your license, or you don't know anything about these
Oh,
things.
that makes total sense.
How you
to
clean
me.
your tools, how you clean your station, what are you actually using on people's skin? An antiseptic, alcohol,
Right.
an astringent. There's so many different levels. So it's really important.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We've fought the same fight.
I can't believe that Edgewood Properties is.
Yeah, I mean, they took them 2 years to hand me a vanilla box. This vanilla box. They said, Christopher Columbus founded America quicker than you built this box for me.
It's interesting. When I was supposed to get my space in September of 2018, which was a year after we had already talked, and I signed my letter of intent.
Me too. I did.
And then they were so far behind, I didn't actually get my space until January.
So
So
yeah.
they were that much, even the whole year of the letter of intent, and then the extra time. And then when they
I
put it
signed
together,
in 2017, and they promised me if I get the money to them before New Year's Day on the 2018, then they're going to make sure that I'm getting in right away. So I had to give them a check. 2017. I moved in November 2019.
Wow.
2 years. That's why I said 2 years. Columbus founded America before you
Right.
were able to do this.
Well, now it's Indigenous People Day.
Yeah.
Be
Oh,
careful.
I just found that out. I said, what does that
Be
even
careful.
mean?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's what it is now.
That's amazing.
Can't
It's just-
offend anybody.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just it's amazing journey. But I gotta say though, getting past this is probably the biggest obstacle of our lifetimes that we're probably ever gonna have to go over, that hurdle, right? And I think it really is a judge of character and how we handle it. Some people didn't pay their rent and just lost their business. Some people just threw their hands up and stuck in a hole. But, I wanted to keep my employees on. And when I got no help, I sold my car, refinanced my house, and that's how I was paying folks.
Right.
Until we got back into the swing of things. But it was a really tough time, I think, on anybody's
Well, and that's the integrity, which is important, and
Yeah.
not only, I guess, your business, which from what I've seen so far, but the business I have, like the
Yeah.
integrity, what you're doing behind the scenes and taking care of your people, and that's what builds the business.
Gotcha. It's true, 100%. So the next thing I wanted to just, I guess it's more of a, I guess what I saw is you are always at your shop.
Always.
Always.
Except for now.
Now, what would Jim Rohn say?
Jim Rohn would say, he says a thing, 6 days on, 1 day off.
He does, but he
You know?
says it's better to work on your business than in your business.
He does, and I'm not at that point yet. I don't
Right.
think. You know, and
Do
I
you
think
think-
it's because the lack of people. There's
Uh-huh.
2 empty chairs in my shop.
Oh,
So I have
okay.
a shop designed for 5 people. So it's me and 2 others. There's 2 empty
Nice.
chairs. I'm kind of cutting for the 2 empty chairs.
Got it.
you
Got
know?
it. Got it.
So it is hard to grow the business and do what I want to do, the
Right.
ideas I want to
Right.
engage in, and have the 2 empty chairs. So that's what's holding me back from
Right.
that. But the being at the shop all the time, and then he does say something too, is that when you're at the beach, think about the
Think
beach.
of beach,
When
right,
you're
when
at
you're-
work, think about the
That's
work.
exactly
Don't do
right.
the opposite.
Don't
So I
wait.
have trouble with that.
Don't do your work at the beach.
Right.
As he talks.
So it is interesting, and I do listen to him about that. But I also hear him when he says that, like when he talks about the weeds. How
Yes.
far will the weeds come in? And as long as you let them, they'll come
Yeah.
all the way up your boots.
That's exactly
And
right.
you have to fight them off every day. So again, 6 days on, 1 day off. And
Yeah.
that's exactly why I've opened my shop 6 days, 1 day off. So we're open every day except for Monday.
Wow.
And everyone's telling me, take your days off, take your days
Right.
off. And I'm like, well, you don't have to, it's not your business.
Right.
You're not trying to grow something and make something big. We all need a break.
It's true. It's true. I was in the same boat as you, and when I say the same boat as you, I have a school in Staten Island. I was there all the time, and until I hired a manager to run that, it made me step out, and that's when I started to really develop the business. Whether it was my advertising, my marketing campaigns, and just getting new ideas and just different ways of coaching and teaching, and that's what really made me go from this to this. And it was when I stepped out, because then you could see things from a totally different perspective, and you'll get there, and I'm sure you will. But what do you see for the Handsome Man Barbershop? Do you see that franchising? Do you see that opening up more shops?
I think the Handsome Man, and this is one of the biggest reasons I didn't call it Buddy's Barbershop, because I didn't want to be the business. And I
Got
understand my personality, my touch in the shop creates the business.
Absolutely.
Along with my guys as well. But before that, they weren't even there. So I started with a good 6, 7, 8 months before anybody even came to help. But the Handsome Man could be so many things, and I can see it being nationwide. I could see it being worldwide. It could be a product. It could be as far as a whiskey. It could be anything, right? It's
Right.
just the Handsome Man. There's so
Yeah.
many different things. And with my phrase, this is confirming confidence. There's a lot behind that.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a couple barbershops. I would love to have a product line. Ultimately, even in the end, I would love to have a school. It's very important to teach people, to
Absolutely.
get people licensed, to get them in your shop, to give them something to strive for. But my next goal, the most immediate goal, is to get a second shop.
Yeah.
That would be the next thing.
But then you'd have to figure out how to spread yourself thin.
Right. Well, I can't be in one place.
Right.
Or it should be 2 places at once. So then then I have to get the manager, and
Right.
my guys are good.
Yeah.
It's just that the lack of the 2 empty chairs, I can't walk away just yet.
Gotcha. Do you think helping them listen to people like Jim Rohn and really get your whole view of things, whether it's the way you have the confidence and you have a great story, you have a great why, right? You really have to convey that to the 20-year-olds. I mean, I do that too with the younger of my coaches.
Right.
How do you find that difficult?
It's a little harder.
Yeah.
It's a little. But I also remember when I was 20.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if I
true.
necessarily wanted to hear that.
It's true.
I was in my own world, and
That's true.
you have some money in your pocket, and all the girls are chasing you, and you're chasing them, and it's
Yeah.
just fun. You're enjoying
true.
your life, and I understand that part of it. But then you realize real quick that you get old fast.
Yeah, you get old fast. That's true.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting old fast, you told me about you have a wonderful lady. That's
I certainly
actually
do.
CBS, yeah.
NBC.
NBC. There you go.
Yeah.
With David Letterman.
She's been one of the best things in my life so far, especially the timing. She's my biggest fan.
You were telling me that before. That's why I wanted this on film, so she could
well,
believe
now
it.
she can believe me. But she's my biggest fan. She's
But
my
you said the
biggest
lady.
supporter.
Does she have a name yet?
She does. Her name's Alexis.
Alexis. That's a great name.
It is a great name. Her name's Alexis O'Shea.
Oh.
And her job at NBC, she's an on-air operations manager, and she's now the Peacock expert, and she's in charge of all this stuff.
Wow.
And she'll be 35 in May. She's been with the company for a little over 10 years.
Wow.
She's really making a mark in her industry, and that's one thing that her and I are both on the same page about it. And what really, I mean, she's a beautiful girl, right? And she struts her stuff, and she wears her heels, and she's got the body, but it's her work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
We both have the same. You know, we both work really hard.
Right.
You know, so that brings us together. So when she's at work or I'm at work, there's there's never a jealousy or questioning. And
Right.
we don't, whine about spending time together because we have our moments. We make time for each other.
Right.
So it works.
And she knows
works
your
hard.
passion is just, doing your gig, and her
Right.
passion is that.
Right.
So you don't, that's a difference when you know, and you can let that space, for you and for her. Then when you get together, it's just a totally different dynamic.
Right. We both, we can both relate to each other, but we're running parallel.
Mhm.
Things don't cross. We're not
That's
in each
exactly
other's way.
right.
We don't fumble over each other.
Yeah.
We're both very parallel in where we're going. And then we've talked about if some point down the future, we're only been together 3 years, a little over 3 now. If some point in the future that crisscrosses, then as adults we'll talk about it. And like going back to the handsome man, having integrity, being honest,
Right.
having manners. Being a good person, there's no reason to cause conflict. You just have a conversation. If we have to part ways, we have to part ways.
Right.
I don't see that ever happening because
Right.
we're on such good terms. Then it wouldn't be that. And I'm glad that I've met her older in my age.
Mhm.
Where the nonsense is done, and now I
Right.
know what I want. I enjoy getting older. Most people are afraid of that. And
Wait till you're 50, like I
well, I like that because when when you get a little older, you enjoy. You're more confident in who you are. You know what you want. You're experienced.
That's what people like us. I know what you're talking about,
Right.
but there are a lot of people that are not.
They're afraid. They feel like
That's
their
exactly
their
right.
life is running out.
That's
And,
exactly
the end
right.
is ultimately going to come for everybody.
That's
but
right.
It could happen next week. Could happen whenever. But I enjoy especially as men, and excuse me, ladies, but we have the privilege of aging gracefully.
Yeah.
As
That's a
long as
good
you don't
point.
get like overly sloppy and
Right.
things like that, and your health is at risk.
Yeah.
You're going to be a little better looking. You're going to have a little gray.
Like
You're
George
gonna,
Clooney, right?
Right,
Exactly.
right. You stay out of the drama. And
Yeah.
You're good to go.
That's
And you
exactly
should have
right.
a little more on your plate, a lot more to offer the world.
That's right.
As a little kid, I didn't have much to offer.
Yeah.
I thought I did,
Yeah.
but I really didn't have much to offer. And now I'm here in this space, in the Handsome Man. I have so much to offer everybody.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
trying to do that.
That's awesome. As we come to the end of the podcast, I already know what your answer is going to be, and I feel like we connect somehow. We've known each other in a past life. I don't know. There's something about you that I feel like I know you already. And the way I end the podcast is I'm a big classic Mustang guy. Big guy. I mean, I've always had classic Mustangs, and years ago, I had just finished restoring a 1966 convertible GT Mustang, candy red. It was beautiful.
Sounds very sexy.
It is,
Yeah.
and it was. I parked it in the garage, and I closed the garage door, and I said to my dad, because my dad was a big Mustang guy, I said, Dad, I love this car. And he goes, I was just at a church, and the pastor said something like, everything we own in life, everything, whether it's your car, your house, your watch, your rings, will be owned by somebody else one day. What are you here for? And this was like 15 years ago. I'm like, I don't even know that answer to that question. But now as I'm getting older, I know the answer. You're only in your late 30s, 38?
Very correct.
Yeah, you seem to already know that answer. So you're way above where I was, 10, 15 years ago. So I'm going to ask you that question. When it's all somebody else now, and somebody else owns the Handsome Man, or somebody else owns the watch or the car, what are you here for? What's the...
I think my main purpose is to create the value. It's very important. But also my biggest fear is to be forgotten.
Me too.
Right? Like that's when I was younger, I wanted to join the service. I wanted to be a cop or a firefighter. My dad was. So I always wanted, like, if I was to, leave the earth, there'd be a folded flag and my name on the wall.
Wow.
Even as something so small. And I'm afraid to be forgotten. And the best way to stay here, and that's why I'm actually very envious of you guys, and this is like being a musician, is that you make one song or one beat or one note, and it will impact someone's life for the rest of their lives, for the rest forever. I mean, we're still listening to Milli Vanilli, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still it creates an impact. It's value. So I hope to somehow, with the Handsome Man, through cutting hair, having the platform I do, to change someone's life. And I already know that I have. I've talked to young kids. I've talked to older people. I'm almost like a therapist in the chair.
Yeah.
People ask me for advice. They come for relationship advice, for health advice, for anything, for just everything. And that's what the important part of the barbershop is, going back to what your first question, what separates us and the experience as opposed to another barbershop, is that because I care and I'm creating value somehow.
Yeah.
And I know I am. So until you have your tribe, people who want the value will come and get it.
Yep.
It's there for them.
So the legacy is to leave a mark. I'm the same.
You have to do
exact way.
something for them to remember you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, that was. I mean, you could all see now why you have all those great reviews. You're just not a guy that cuts somebody's hair. You're way more than that. So that's kudos. I want to honor you.
I
because
appreciate it.
You know, I walked into your place. It was a beautiful space. You know, you seem like a great guy. You know, we spoke for a couple of minutes, but I really wanted you on this podcast.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I kept emailing him like, dude,
Yeah.
come on, you got to get me. And you were booked for like 2 months.
I know. It took a lot for me to.
I know,
To get here.
I know, but I'm really glad you did. How can people find you? Address? What's the address to the Handsome?
It's 177 Elton Adelphia Road in Freehold, Suite 4. It's in the Edgewood Properties complex right there.
That's sort of like on Route 9, right?
Right. So it's the complex is on Route 9 where the apartments are. It's called the Edge at Freehold. But then right behind it, it's the same property. It's on Elton Adelphia Road. You have visibility from Route 9, which was awesome for me because I didn't want to be right on Route 9.
Right.
I wanted a little setback.
Yep.
I'm right in a place where the Freehold Township High School's right there, Jackson Mills Road. You have Jackson, Howell, Farmingdale, Freehold. They're all right there, and there's no real barbershop around.
Right, right.
Especially not what we're doing. You know, I do have an Instagram, and
You're gonna work on that?
Facebook, where I have to work on that. I don't have much of an online presence. I will work on all that. Like you were saying with the Jim Rohn thing, I can't work on my business in my business, right? I have to take a step back and be able to help grow it. I have to be able to water the plant instead of being inside of it. So I will promise that I will do that. But you know, you just find us, you give us a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the website?
The www.thehandsomemanbarbershop.com. You can make an online appointment. It's very user friendly.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
An amazing logo, by the way.
Oh,
amazing
thank you.
logo.
And I mean, I'll shout my friend out, Parker Russo. He has a whole thing that
great.
he does. He's an entrepreneur as well. You might want to talk to him. He does the whole PJR designs. He's really good at his stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, he's linked up with a lot of people. He's doing big things for himself. But he helped me out a long time ago. I've known him a long time. So it really helped me out. It's a really
Quality
cool logo.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Handsome Man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was great.